are these people?
So all these people already have contributed and supported. The ways that you can do that if you're not already on that board, and we appreciate everyone that is and continue to be on that board and continue to support. Cash App, $ Indie News Network, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network. And then we've got the Substacks, INNnewsletter.com, IndieMediaToday.com, and our self-hosted website that has a Stripe plugin at IndieNewsNow.com. And then you go to the Keep the Media Free, and you can hook up a monthly or one-time contribution over there. I also wrote an article this week that started from just a Substack note. And I guess I'll start with the note because the note is quick. And then I just wrap it with a lot of images and receipts to back up what I'm saying. But I said, so I publicly asked multiple times on here on notes a few things about the No Kings Day that people seem to be very excited over. And I don't want to knock that. I've gotten exactly one response from 13 plus million people allegedly who attended one. Now, by the way, that's already been dialed back to 5 million. My question is, what did the people attending the No Kings protest rallies yesterday accomplish? They're celebrating. They were high-fiving. It was great vibes and feels. 13 million people stood in a street or a park or whatever with no real demand, many of whom voted for Kamala Harris last November, who, if we recall, was anointed as the eventual Democratic candidate by the donors, like a king or queen. What happened last Saturday is the result of when people turn off their critical thinking skills and just turn out because vibes and feels and we're just mad at Trump. There was no actual plan to stop anything, just to complain in public. It was organized by the people who rigged their last 3 presidential candidates, and partially funded by a billionaire heiress of the largest employer in the country, who's directly responsible for millions of Americans who work for her companies being underpaid, still required to be on food stamps, and not given enough hours to earn a living. Walmart. And I put a tweet above from our friend Tired Peasant, who talked about that she's leaving the Walmart store that she's been working at for 11 years in Florida, and they're replacing her with 3 part-timers. They're not putting full-timers on the payroll. Just as a reminder of very recent history, Joe Biden was the winner of the 2024 Democratic primary, even though most who voted for him were effectively forced to choose him. Throughout the primary, Democratic Party bosses made it clear to everyone that Biden was going to be the candidate Democrats had to vote for as the incumbent and the only serious challenge to Trump, which they all knew he wasn't. Of course, we all saw that a coup was engineered within the Democratic Party, one that everyone knew was coming for 3 years. Jett literally talked about that they were going to run Kamala Harris in 2024 in 21 on his albums. We have the receipts. And it resulted in Harris being installed as the nominee to challenge Trump. Nobody besides the billionaire donors got to choose her as their candidate. After we all saw how badly they botched the last 4 years, there probably wasn't any Democrat that could have beaten Trump. And I think that they all knew that. The people likely would not have, no matter which Democrat she faced in a primary, voted for Harris. So the party just ensured that she didn't have to face any challenge by exposing Biden's dementia post-primary as too advanced, even though everyone knew for years that he wasn't really running stuff anyway and demented, but he was just too advanced to continue, right? There was even, remember, an opportunity to have an open debate and choose a different candidate at the convention, but that wasn't even seriously ever part of the conversation. I still can't believe that. Everyone around her knew Harris had no chance and would be a miserable failure if she somehow pulled it off, but they all still got in line behind her anyway. The Democrats compromised themselves. They bullied a complicit, click-hungry media apparatus. They whitewashed and ignored genocide in Gaza. They also funded and armed it. They gaslit us on Ukraine not being a proxy war, only to have them admit it was all along. And they even blackmailed half of Hollywood to attempt to make it happen. A reminder that Antony Blinken and Jake Sullivan effectively ran foreign policy for the country under the Biden admin, and that the aforementioned Anita Dunn, it's come out, made a lot of the domestic policy decisions with the auto pen. Nobody elected any of them last I checked. And now back to Saturday's No Kings Day. Oh, God.
It's good to be the king.
And now the Democratic Party again wants you to believe that the party would be a positive alternative to Trump, that they would provide, and that they gave people an opportunity to yell, "Orange Man bad," in the streets, funded by the corporate America largely getting in line with Trump's agenda. It seems like this was a liberal pink pussy hat 2.0 party 8 years later. All right, everyone who attended went home that night, felt a little better about themselves for a day, and then watched World War III continue to unfold, supported by those same Democrats who organized the protest rallies. Nothing fundamentally changed, just like Joe Biden. Not one person celebrating No Kings on Saturday wanted to answer these questions, and I got a couple, but they were very kind of lame. What happened on Sunday? What happens on Monday? Is there any follow-up? Do you do any direct action? Is there any way to make elected officials uncomfortable so they change their behavior? They showed up at these protest rallies. You can't make them uncomfortable if they're there on your, standing alongside you. I didn't think so, but please prove me wrong. Or explain what was accomplished that has everyone acting like something was. And all I got was a lot of vibes and feels. Again, this tweet really set me off. Imagine throwing a No Kings protest after your party refused to hold a primary, coronated Kamala without a single vote, sued to keep RFK Jr. off the ballot, and attempted to then remove Trump from state ballots only after your illegal lawfare scheme failed in the first place. If there was a modern-day monarchy in America, there would be one party you could point to, which is the Democrats. 75 million people did vote for Trump. Nobody would have voted for Harris given the choice from the outset. They were basically shoehorned into it because they voted blue no matter who. And that triggered a bunch of stuff. And I didn't want to write the article, and Colin and Reef covered it on INN News, and they read through this whole thing and commented as well. They brought up Brett Wilkins' piece where, again, he talked about vibes and feels. And here's this shit lib. Maybe nobody's responding to your dumb fucking question because it was posed by a morally preening dipshit. Just a thought. Yeah, no. Sorry, you have nothing. Tell me what you think I got wrong. He's got nothing. What we accomplished, right? Get a real job. Uh-huh. By your logic.
The common clay of the New West.
Now, Michelle Decryptodamus, friend of the show, says, I think it was a good test run or show of force that proved a lot of people will take to the streets if shit gets even more out of hand than it already is. I disagree. Well, also a contrast
to the supposed to do another one
July 4th. How interesting.
Like July 4th.
It's also a contrast to the military parade in DC. It was psychologically humiliating for Trump. Humiliation is one of the most potent weapons against narcissists. Certainly they had more people attend than his shitty birthday parade. Absolutely.
That's if you believe he's running anything.
I think that it was really his decision to run that military parade. He orchestrated that because he wanted a birthday party and he wanted to see tanks in the streets. So all these people already have contributed and supported. The ways that you can do that if you're not already on that board, and we appreciate everyone that is and continue to be on that board and continue to support. Cash App, $ Indie News Network, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network. And then we've got the Substacks, INNnewsletter.com, IndieMediaToday.com, and our self-hosted website that has a Stripe plugin at IndieNewsNow.com. And then you go to the Keep the Media Free, and you can hook up a monthly or one-time contribution over there. IndieNewsNow.com, INNnewsletter.com, IndieMediaToday.com. So many places you can go in order to support independent media. Because we need it more than ever. Again, I love you all, and see you soon. I don't know when, but we'll see you soon. See you, everyone.
Bye. Have a great time.
Bye-bye!
No! We just fucking lost the stream!
I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want?